Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of IndyCar Career Mode here on the channel. Hope you're all having a great day today. It's the biggest race in motorsports. It's the Indy 500 here in the week of May. You see the point standings coming into today's episode. Kyle Kirkwood, off of his third win of the season, comes into the 500 top of the board. We got some work to do down in 24th in the standings, of course, now as we roll into this weekend. Now, obviously, with the game here, it's a little bit different from IRL, so we can't have like the authentic qualifying for IndyCar and whatnot. So unfortunately, whatever it is, for some reason I cannot get oval tracks that have single car qualifying, so we are stuck with the 10-minute group qualifying, which is pretty annoying. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't seem to be able to be fixed. But nonetheless, here we were in practice. So getting, of course, some laps under our belt. Indianapolis Oval. It seems like a simple track, but it is far from it now. It is such a difficult track, especially in race, the actual race, because of the dirty air coming from the cars in front of you. You got to be really, really careful. Passing can be quite difficult, of course, with that. But yeah, I was overall pretty happy with how the car was in practice. We didn't have a lot of speed in practice, though. Only P26 now, as we were ready for qualifying, though, on the next day here, which we'll just say it was Saturday, the day before the race. Of course, not anywhere close to authenticity when it comes to the Indy 500 in qualifying. But yeah, here we were with the 10-minute group qualifying getting underway. Like I said, for whatever reason, can't get single car qualifying on the ovals. Don't know why. It just won't work. So here we are, though, starting our first and opening lap here now. And actually, it was pretty late in the session when I was actually getting in my laps. So I knew we didn't have a lot of speed in the car. We were probably going to be starting towards the back. And you can see we're going to come through to cross the line, and basically we would go one of the slowest. We were P27. A lot of work to do. I would go faster right at the end of the session, but barely. It was going to be by about 1/100 of a second here. It's a big slipstream, and yeah, it's P27 for the start of the Indy 500. It's pretty rough, but you know what? We can make our way forward now. As well, some drivers had issues in qualifying that will be starting behind us, including Marcus Ericsson, who hit the wall on the exit of turn one. Look at that right there. And then as well, Kirkwood did the same thing. So off of his third win of the season, he'll be starting at the back of the grid. It's Benjamin Peterson who gets the pole position here for the Indy 500. A great result, of course, for him, as we are going to have to try and slice and dice our way through the field here in Indianapolis. It's a 60-lap race here. Now, it is going to be a minimum of 2 pit stops. See, we got about 20 to 25 laps of fuel in the car. The last thing you want to be doing is leading, because that will destroy your fuel. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. But we are ready to get racing in the Indy 500. On the front row, it's Peterson and Pagenaud, Dixon just behind as the green flag is out. We are racing in Indianapolis. Obviously, you see as well, not a 3-wide start. We cannot get those here in the game either. So, unfortunate, but it is what it is. Dixon through in the second immediately here on the 60-lap race. And here he goes already to the inside of Peterson into the lead. Scott Dixon goes from P3 to P1 in just a couple of corners here in the start of this American Indianapolis 500 race as we continue down the back straightaway. And you can see a little 2x2 action here. Dixon, though, showing a lot of speed right off the bat into turn 3. He is going to get clear of Peterson on the exit of the corner. Down into turn 4, he'll be able to take control, and in command he goes of this race. Pagenaud jumps back to third place. You see side by side in the background there, Roman Grosjean. There's myself settling in as well into line. We got Marcus Ericsson around us as well, trying to follow him through as he was able to pass me on this opening lap, and now we're right on the outside of him, actually, as you can see us going wheel to wheel. Now, making passes on the outside is the best way to go about passing at this track with this AI. We go around the outside of Marcus Armstrong. So yeah, you want to be making moves on the top lane. Now, the inside is possible, but you cannot have a car in front of you because you will get the dirty air off that car and you'll plow, and you can kind of see it right here. I'm really having to lift it as I'm up the inside of one of the McLarens, but you can see right here, as soon as I go to the inside, well, here goes Kyle Kirkwood to my outside, and he's bringing Scott McLaughlin with him as well as we head down this front straightaway. So having to just kind of be really, really patient here. You can see some stacking up in front of myself now as well. We actually have Ed Ed Carpenter in the field here today. Now his first race of the season. He'll be back for Iowa likely as well. Now we're going to go to the outside though of Rinus VK and try to move our way back forward. So we get back up to the outside. I was pretty happy about that, but some sketchy opening laps here. Now this track is filled with just absolute action, all race long here. Now it's actually allow Ericsson back to my inside here down this front straightaway, and he would actually have enough momentum. I just let him go down into turn 1. It's lap 4 of 60 in the Indy 500. I'm not going to fight you too hard. How about this? Joseph Newgarden falling back hard in these opening laps there. Almost looks like there's something wrong with his car because he was dropping like a rock. I have got those updated ratings in the game now, and I can tell you Newgarden should be fighting for the win on a normal day here, so a bit rough for him. Now as we're going to go up the inside, we pass Ericsson now up the inside of the Toronto IRL winner of Christian Lundgaard. Now nearly some contact right there. We had that dirty air up the car in front of him, and you saw the effect of that. We plowed up the track and nearly ran into him, so VK gets past us, but then Lundgaard actually loses position to Ericsson, who got to his outside. Now up front, look at this. 2 rows of 2 cars here. You got as well, how about Santino Ferrucci up here with Harvey, as well as Pagano and Dixon. They get that all sorted out. Of course, the pole winner of Peterson's dropping back as the race goes on so far, so he might have qualified well, but definitely that race pace is not quite in that car, as we were now running about P22 as we come through to lap 7. Ericsson has gotten past Ed Carpenter, as I'm going to go around the outside of Carpenter as well, so thank you for the position there, as we're now up to P21. Lap 8 though, nearly wrecking myself on the exit of turn 4. A huge save as we go down this front stretch. Now I caught that little, I'm not going to call it a curve, but that gray part of the bottom lane. And if you get your left sides on that, you can absolutely destroy the car, and you can see it right there again. So fortunately, we made a huge save. Fortunately as well, the drivers behind us reacted accordingly, so we would get back into the action here, passing Armstrong again. Here's Newgarden back here, Joseph Newgarden just really struggling. Callum Ilott as well back here, as we're trying to get past all of these guys and get back forward, of course, to Ericsson and whatnot. So here we are right on the back of Callum Ilott, going up the inside, down this back straightaway, down into turn 3. We would clear him. So fortunately, enough clear air to where I could make that inside work pretty easily, as we were closing back in on Rinus VK, Marcus Ericsson over the next few laps. Have quite a bit of time until we have to come into the pits here now, so pushing quite hard. You can see Ericsson and VK going at it. We're going to follow through around the outside of VK, so P22 now on the board, as right now Scott Dixon on lap 18 continues to lead this race, so he is going to have to pit quite a bit earlier because he's the one punching the hole for everybody, which means he's wasting more fuel. So Dixon is going to be the first one to the pit lane whenever that time comes, probably within the next few laps. Here we go around the outside of Ericsson as well as Ed Carpenter. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll take those 2 free positions here now and enter the conversation of the top 20. We got Felix Rosenquist there just in front of us now, as you can see us looking to the outside, and well, thank you once again. Another position gained on lap 20 of this race. Already about 5 laps to field left in the car, so we are running out quickly. Scott Dixon is coming in right now at the end of lap 22, so Dixon all on his own is going to come in. You see everybody else staying out here, so we would be pitting at the end of lap 24. As you can see, others staying out. I didn't have enough fuel to go an extra lap, but I saw here quite a few drivers did, but we had to come in at this point here. So far, caution free in this Indy 500. Ever since the first race in Sebring, there hasn't been a lot of chaos, and that's the big moment of the race so far. I actually overshoot my pit box now. We're too far left in the pit box, so we have to completely readjust before the team can actually put tires on this car and refuel it as well. Unfortunately, a big error there. On the fortunate side, it happens early in the race, and actually didn't lose as much time as I thought it would. We come out right behind VK, so overall not too bad, and we would have a big slipstream from VK when we exited the pit lane down into turn 3, and we're going to go around the outside of him, put him in that position where he kind of is forced to lift, and sure enough, we take the position away now as the rest of the pit cycle would begin to run its course, and you can see us exiting here, turn 2 down this back straightaway and gaining some positions. So it's going to cycle through after we pass Rossi and maybe Rosenquist. We're going to be hopefully back in the top 20 where we were at the time of coming into the pit lane now as Scott Dixon exits the pit lane. He's in control of this race over Pagenaud and Ferrucci, currently running second and third. Ferrucci had a stellar performance in the Indy 500 in real life, and he seems to be replicating that here in the game as well. As you can see, Grosjean going for some overtakes there, but now as well, Ericsson on the inside of McLaughlin through 3. He's going to complete the pass there as I was watching this from the background, trying to get up into the mix, and we continue now on Ed Carpenter. Again, I feel like we've passed this guy 2 or 3 times already, and down the front straightaway, we would look up the inside of him, down into turn 1. I kind of put him into an awkward position here, but unfortunately, there's enough dirty air from McLaughlin that I was forced to lift, and now Carpenter clear for a second. We're back up the inside, and he's actually going to give us the position here on the exit of turn 2. So P19 is where we are now ranked here in these now closing laps, already halfway through this Indy 500 as we close in on the back of Scott McLaughlin, Marcus Ericsson just in front as well as that. If we get this pass complete, this will be up into P18, a huge run on McLaughlin down this front straightaway. We're going to pull out to the left side of the track, and here we go, crossing the stripe, lap 33 of 60 down into turn 1, dead even. We're going to clear McLaughlin, have to lift quite heavily. We got problems here though. Roman Grosjean off circuit there. Looks like there's some damage done to the Frenchman's car, and this might bring out a caution depending what he does down into turn 3. Goes into the grass. He comes back up almost in front of traffic in IndyCar. Throws a caution for that, so that will bring out a yellow, and here's what happened. He got out of basically the dirty air, got him. So he hit the wall, and well, unfortunate for Grosjean, not surprising on an oval. So now we would see split pit strategy. If we save enough, we can make it from here. But Dixon, Pagenaud, as well as Benjamin Peterson and Joseph Newgarden are the 4 drivers that have elected to stay on the racetrack. Everybody else comes into the pit lane. So by pitting right here, we are right on the fine edge of making it. The 4 that just stayed out, it is impossible for them to make it, but we could potentially make it by about a lap or half a lap. It'd be really, really close. We beat Alex Palou out of the pit lane. Thankfully, I actually didn't screw up the pit lane this time, so we were getting ready to go back racing then, right behind Marcus Ericsson. So Dixon, Pagenaud, Peterson, and Newgarden, the top 4, but they all have to pit. The first driver on new fuel and new tires is Santino Ferrucci in 5th position. Dixon leads us back underway, and if I'm Scott Dixon, I'm pretty concerned. I've dominated this Indy 500. A poorly timed caution and maybe a bad strategy has just cost him, as well as Pagenaud, Peterson, and Newgarden. However, Newgarden doesn't really have much to lose. There's just something going wrong with that Penske car here today. You can already see him disconnected from the top 3 in front of him, so clearly there's just some kind of issue going on with Newgarden today. Peterson up the inside into turn 3 of Pagenaud. He leaves the lane. Is he going to take advantage of it? No, he will not. Pagenaud stays ahead here now, side by side. There's Colton Herta going around the outside of Harvey, and now here's Ericsson going around the outside of Pato O'Ward. Now these two have a history in this very race. Now as I was following through with Marcus Ericsson, I feel like we've been looking at the back of Marcus Ericsson's car for the majority of this race. Clear of O'Ward down into turn 1, and we continue to impress. Now, like I said, the month of May, the Indy Road Course and the Indy 500, big opportunities to impress the right teams for season 2 of this career mode. Of course, they get a top tier opportunity, a huge run. Now we're gonna take it to the inside of the Auto Trader pink and white machine right there, and we are able to gain a position, but Ericsson was able to go around the outside of Kirkwood in the process, so we only gained 1 instead of going for 2. But here we go to the outside of Ericsson now, and that puts us up in a P14. What a day this is turning into, as long as we don't screw this up. To the inside of Will Power with a big run as well down this back straightaway. The aggression, intensity picking up here in this Indianapolis 500. Up the inside into 3, clear of Power, who doesn't even try to fight it, but I pushed way up there, and now he's going to do the switchback here down into turn 4. He tries to fight alongside, not enough. We stay ahead. Will Power now in these closing 22 laps underway here in this Indy 500, sideways into turn 2. We save it for the time being. We save it again, chasing the car all over the place. Kirkwood goes around the outside. We will get past him, passed by him. Power as well as Ericsson, so we would have to fight back, and Power gets in a compromised position there from Ericsson. He goes around him, so I am able to follow through at ease as well. So once again, staring at the back of Marcus Ericsson for I don't know how many times in this race. But here we go now to the inside of Malukas down this front stretch. He was fading back in these closing 20 laps, so we will get past him down into turn 1. He does not have anything there to fight us on the outside. So back into P13, and actually I caught the outside wall into turn 1, but now around the outside of Kyle Kirkwood into 12th place, trying to continue to follow Ericsson. Where he's gone is where I've gone sideways again, though. On the exit of turn 2, lap 45, that's going to allow Kyle Kirkwood to go back past around the outside, only losing one position, though, this time. So we're still in the mix now, chasing the car up the track in the dirty air, nearly into the outside wall. It is so hard to drive on these ovals in IndyCar with that dirty air. And now, Scott Dixon, Simon Pagenaud, Joseph Newgarden, and Benjamin Peterson had all made their pit stops that they had to make. So we are now up in the 9th place as I actually hissed the wall right there. So their chances of a 500 have come to an end unless a miracle. But right now it's Santino Ferrucci leading this race. However, that might be a bad thing for him now. Crash in the back, though. It's Connor Daly into the outside wall. You see the right front destroyed on that machine. That's going to bring out a late race full course yellow here in this Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I was just talking about Ferrucci, of course. We'll touch on that in a second, but here's the replay. What in the world was that? Daly contact with Lundgaard, and into the outside wall he would go. But Santino Ferrucci currently leads this race. But keep in mind, when everybody pitted on that last caution, we were only a maximum of about a lap or so good on fuel. So Ferrucci might be in a position where he's not going to be able to make it to the end of this race because of that reason. You are leading, you are punching the hole for everybody else around you, and it makes it very hard. It makes it impossible, basically, to save fuel. I was on the clutch right there even, saving as much fuel as I could. Under caution, we get back underway. It's 7 laps of racing in this Indy 500. We're P9, top 10 run for the first time in our IndyCar career. Could today be the day where we get our first top 10? Would that be a heck of a statement if we get our first top 10 in the Indy 500? To the back of Kyle Kirkwood for P8, up the inside, of course, of the points leader, 3-time winner here, wheel to wheel into turn 3. I really don't care what his status on the season is. We are here to prove that we belong up front here now, still going at it with Kirkwood down into turn 1, side by side, drifting up the track, having to back out of it nearly into the side of him. Kirkwood doesn't back out as he is absolutely on it right now as we continue to try and fight up the inside, but now you can see dirty air right there on the outside. We get around Harvey, so we take the position nonetheless, move up at a P7, but now we're going for P6 on Kirkwood. Another huge run. We look to the inside, but unfortunately he just has enough pull from the cars ahead as I nearly run into the side of him again and nearly into the outside wall. We save it, fortunately. However, now as it's Augustin Canapino, of course, said he was getting that slipstream from in front of me. So every time I did this, every time I pulled up to the inside, I just could not complete the pass into turn 1 because he has that pull from Canapino. It's unfortunate as Santino Ferrucci continues to lead this Indy 500, but now catching Kirkwood off guard, getting to the outside, and there we go, P7 now. What a race it has been, and now we have a shot to go for P6 right there on Augustin Canapino now as we have a massive run again down the front stretch with that slipstream diving to the inside. He's not got much of a pull from the car in front of him, and if he does, we're going to be dead even nonetheless into turn 1, and here we go, clear, easy move. 3 laps to go in this Indy 500, running out of time. Obviously, we're not going to be a threat to win this race, of course. 2 laps to go at this point. Now the popular question is, Ferrucci, can he make it? We're about to find out. You see a message on the top of the screen. Ferrucci's pitting, so no, he cannot make it as I nearly wrecked myself. So Ferrucci leading has cost him a chance of the win. He cannot make it. He pits with 1 lap to go. It's Devlin DeFrancesco, the Canadian, out in front. We have 2 Canadians currently in the top 5, or in the top 6, sorry. No, top 5 it is, yes, because of Ferrucci pitting. 2 top 5 Canadian drivers here in the Indy 500 on this final lap. Unfortunately, we're not the one out in front, but it's DeFrancesco, Graham Rahal, Elio Castroneves, and then Colton Herta, myself, Canapino, Kirkwood, Harvey, Malukas, and Marcus Ericsson, the top 10 down the back straightaway. Is anybody going to run out? We are going to make it by not much at all. Maybe about half a lap to the good is what we're going to be once we cross the stripe. But it's Devlin DeFrancesco, the Canadian, who is going to come through down this front straightaway for the first time this season. He is going to become an Indy 500 champion here today in Indianapolis. We're going to bring it home for P5. We'll absolutely take that, a career high, a career first top 10, top 5, etc. A huge day, a huge month for our IndyCar career after we had a very strong effort at the Indy road course as well, and we back it up with an incredible effort here on the oval. Devlin DeFrancesco, an Indy 500 champion, as I was now on the fuel pressure low message on the wheel, so that tells you just how close it was for us there. We bring it into the pits and call it a day. Graham Rahal so close to his first Indy 500 win as well, after of course being on the roster in IndyCar for so many years. I think longer than I've been alive, I think, at this point. But nonetheless, what a weekend here in Indianapolis, of course. What a race, to say the least. It was a fun one. We had some cautions, finally had a little bit of interesting things actually happening for once. And then in the next one, we're headed to Detroit street course. It's not the new one, it's the old one. But I can tell you guys, I think that's going to be a really fun episode. I'm just hopeful that I don't crash out, because I've made some laps around there in the past, and it's a difficult track. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. That's going to wrap it up for me. If you guys enjoyed, you know what to do as usual. IndyCar Career Mode, absolutely a blast so far to do. And I'll see you guys in the next one in the streets of Detroit. Have a great day, everybody.